Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today our subject is child development, and this is lecture number 16. The topic of today's lecture is adolescent. The outlines of the lectures are: introduction, what is meant by adolescent, then physical growth, then emotional development, then we will discuss about social development, and then adolescent developmental stages, and then need and problems of adolescent. First of all, adolescent age. Remember that adolescent age that remains from 13 to 18 years old. This is the stage of physical growth, and also here there is a physiological growth, and then secondary sex characteristics. Cognitive development normally remains at this stage. Emotional development also happens. Social development remains. What is meant by adolescence? Adolescence, this is derived from the Latin verb adolescere, which means to grow into maturity. It is biosocial transitions from childhood to adulthood. It is based on childhood experiences and accomplishments. This also refers to the behavioral characteristics of this period that are influenced by physical and cultural changes. So whenever there will be a cultural or physical changes, so adolescents definitely reflect from some characteristics. Period of rapid physical and biological changes which may lead to competence, tensions, frustrations, and feelings of insecurity. Adolescence is a period of stress and strain, storm and strife. What is adolescence? Adolescence begins with the appearance of secondary sex characteristics and ends with somatic growth is completed and the individual is psychological mature. Through formal operational thinking, adolescent can deal with the problem. At this stage, the physical growth, if we consider height, then height of girls will be maximum between the age of 16 to 17 years old. By the age of 13, the adolescent triples his birth length. Males gain 10 to 30 centimeter in height, and the female gains less height than males as they gain 5 to 20 centimeter. Growth in height ceases at 16 or 17 years in female and 18 in 20 in males. 18 to 20. We must know that growth ends at certain stage and development remains till the death. So for females, the height stops at 16 to 17 years, and in males, the growth of height that ends in 18 to 20 years of old. Then physical growth, if we consider the weight, So growth spurts begin earlier in girls 10 to 14 years, while it is 12 to 16 years in boys. Male gains 7 to 30 kg, while female gains 7 to 25 kg during this age. Trunk broadens during this age, and in physical growth, digestive, circulatory and responding system fully develops. Body tissues, skeleton start growing. Tissues other than bones continue to develop. Secondary sex characteristics. Secondary sex characteristics in girls, like they increase in transverse diameters of the pelvis and development of the breast that remains prominent in girls, changes in vaginal secretions, growth of pubic and axillary hairs. Menstruations means first menstruation is called menarche, which occurs between 12 to 13 years. Endocrine system, temporary imbalance of the entire endocrine system in early adolescence and sex grounds become functional. Secondary sex characteristics in boys. So what are the changes at physical growth? Like increase in size of genitalia, swelling of the breast, growth of pubic, axillary, facial and chest hairs, change in voice, rapid growth of shoulder breadth, production of spermatozoa, which is sign of puberty. Development. This period is heightened emotions, gland functions come under social pressure, problems relate to romance, easily excited and explode emotionally, and this remains in 14 years of age. Temper, tantrum, mood swings, intense self-consciousness, daydreaming is common in this age. Adolescent exhibits altering and triggering episodes of disturbed behavior with periods of quiet one, and he may become hostile or ready to fight, complain or resist everything. Adolescent period is also called the period of temporary insanity. Period of 4S means stress, storm, stream and strife. Also increased compassion patterns like love, anger, jealousy, emotion of love. Auto-egotism means self-love, homosexuality, heterosexuality. Intellectual or moral characteristics. In this age, the development of intelligence remains at peak, increases in span of attention, development of memory, development of imagination, that the students or the children develops their imagination, and widening of interest. Then peers. As adolescence approaches, the family's influence diminishes. the peer group becomes an important social force, and the need for peer approval can affect decisions concerning participations in physical activity positively or negatively. Then there is a social development also. He needs to know who he is in relation to family and society. That is, he develops a sense of identity. If the adolescent is unable to formulate a satisfactory identity from the multi identifications, so sense of self-confusion will be developed according to Erikson. So adolescent shows interest in other sex. He looks for close friends. Then there are some developmental tasks. This is the tasks which arises at on a certain period in the life of individuals, successful achievement of which leads to his or her happiness, and to success with later task, while failure leads to unhappiness and difficulty with later tasks. Developmental tasks are based on the needs of the society. The major task facing adolescent is to create a stable identity and become complete and productive adults. A developmental task represents our culture's definition of normal development at different points in the lifespan. And developmental tasks that enable adolescents to create an identity, achieving new and more mature relations with others, both boys and girls in their age group, achieving a masculine and feminine social role, accepting one's physique, achieving emotional independence from parents and other adults, preparing for marriage and family life, preparing for an economic career, because after this age definitely the children goes for economic career, acquiring a set of values and an ethical system as a guide to behavior, developing an ideology, desiring and achieving socially responsible behavior. This is also one of the developmental tasks of adolescent age. Then there are some adolescent developmental stages. Like the first stage is, that is early stage, from 10 to 14 years of age. Second stage is middle stage, and that is from 15 to 17 years. Then late 17 and above years is called late stage. There are different questions about stages. Like at central question is regarding major developmental issues. At early stage, am I normal? And at middle stage, who am I? Where do I belong? And at late stage, where I am going? Moreover, in early stage, coming to term puberty, struggle for autonomy commence, same-sex peer relationships, mood swings, and in middle stage, the new intellectual powers arises, new sexual drives comes, experimentations and risk-taking, relationships have self-centered quality, and need for peer group acceptance and emergence of sexual identity. At a later stage, the major development issues like independence from parents, realistic body image, and acceptance of sexual identity, clear educational and vocational goals, own value system, and developing mutual cases and mutually responsible relationships. Then the main concern at different stages, like in early stages, anxieties about body shape and changes, comparisons with peers, and at middle stage, influence of peers, tensions between family and individual over assertions of autonomy, balancing demand of family and peers, prone to fight behavior and risk taking, strong need for privacy, and maintaining ethnic identity while striving to fit in with dominant culture. And at later stage, there is a self-responsibility, achieving economic independence, developing intimate relationship. And regarding cognitive development, at early stage, still fairly concrete thinkers, less able to understand subtlety, daydreaming common, difficulty identifying how their immediate behavior impacts on the future. And at middle stage, is able to think more rationally, concerned about individuals' freedom and rights, able to accept more responsibility for consequences of own behavior, and begin to take on greater responsibility within family as part of cultural identity. And at later stage, this is longer attention span and ability to think more abstractly and more able to synthesize information and apply it to themselves. And at this stage also able to think into the future and anticipate consequences of their actions. Point regarding this point, at early stage, reassure about normality, ask more direct than open-ended questions, base intervention needed on immediate or short-term outcomes, help identify possible adverse outcomes if they continue the understandable behavior. And at middle stage, address confidentiality concerns is there, always assess for health risks, behavior, and focus interventions on short to medium term outcomes, relate behaviors to immediate physical and social concerns. At later stage, the focus remains interventions on short and long term goals, address preventions more broadly. So now there are some needs of adolescents, like the primary and physiological needs. So it includes oxygen, water, food, rest, and sleep. So this is what that these are the basic needs of adolescents. Rest need is about 8 hours. This is very important because a normal persons must sleep 8 hours. Separate physical education programs must be there. Then a need of adolescent. A balance between security and freedom must be there. Need for love. This is the need of adolescents. Need for approval, that everything they want to get approval from everyone. Need for self-expressions. And different types of co-curricular activities are needed for providing new experiences and utilizing energy. Sex education on the suitable basis is needed. This is the need of this stage. Unobtrusive adult guidance is needed at this stage. A need of adolescence, that they need for freedom from independence, need for associations with opposite sex, needs for self-support, need for philosophy of life. They want to explore or have their own way of living. There are some common problems of adolescence. that an adolescence is problem individuals. There are many problems around him, and he needs much and needs help and guidance for their solutions at every step. Like excessive energy, intake of food is increased, the general health is also improved, and the result is excessive energy. Our traditional schools do not provide such physical activities. Consequently, the adolescence is restless, and various activities act as sublimations for the adolescents, and they feel relief. Then other some common problems are that with the advent of adolescence, the gonads come into activity for first time. The appearance of secondary sexual characteristics is to the same, and they produce emotional upheaval in the adolescence. The first appearance of menstrual course or nocturnal emissions bewilders and shock the adolescent who is quite ignorant about it. The school should supply the right kind of information regarding sex at this stage. So, due to ignorance about sex, many promising personalities are doomed. This is one of the common problem, aggressiveness or withdrawal. When an adolescent cannot adjust himself with the word, he knows to be aggressive or withdrawal from the field and his personality is arrested. If the conflict is too serious, he regresses. The school should be provide sample opportunities to the children to express themselves properly. Co-curricular activities, scouting students, self-government, and changed the method of instruction can go a long way in enabling the adolescents to adjust themselves with the world. Our problem is rebellious attitudes. Like the adolescents are no more children. They should be recognized as young men and women in the school as well in the home, as in the home. So their craving for the independence should be satisfied to some extent. So they should be given some responsibility. And they turn to be very obedient if they be trusted, but things do not work smooth in ordinary schools and home. So their sense of independence and responsibility is seldom recognized. So the result is rebellion against authority. Awkwardness. Most of the adolescents have the sense of physical clumsiness. Consequently, their movements tends to be awkward and unbalanced. So they may be corrected in the playground and on the stage. Game and dancing will given them harmonious and balanced movements. Social services at the occasions of festival. For example, practical work can help the children in this respect. Another excessive daydreaming. Excessive daydreaming is normal at this stage, but when it grows to excessive, it may be injurious as far as development of personality is concerned. It is ambition to be freedom from parental sovereign. The individual hates control of the parents. He seeks to identify to himself. And the teacher should note that adolescents are active and busy in their studies and other aspects of their life. The children are indulging in excessive daydreaming should be encountered and it should be encouraged to be constructive and creative. Economic independence. Always the students or the children, they want money from their parents for personal expense, and this is the then emotional tension is there, like emotional development is at maximum and unstable. Self-respect and personal pride make the individuals emotionally bad. He expects the things to be done as he aspires. Then personal appearance. This is again one of the common problem of adolescents. Like this is a significant problem, and adolescents are worried about the appearance with modern and latest lifestyle at any cost. Then morphological developmental problems is there, like overgrowth of hair and undergrowth of hair, overweight and underweight, skin color problems, facial deformities, pimples, abnormal growth of genital and breast. So psychological problems are also there, like ignorance about many basic facts leads to psychological problems, like misconceptions about sexual feelings, sex-related issues, misconceptions about childbirth, reproductions, misconception about cytos, menstrual cycles, and fear about sex and sexual issues. Psychological problems are also there, like guilt about sex-related issues, complex about skin color, abilities, and beauty, and inexplicable conceptions about dress and fashion codes, and wrong and unrealistic ideologies about friendship and courtship, attractions toward opposite sex, and exceptional vulnerability to suicide psychology. And the social problem is also there, like intense closeness with brother, sister, and friends, and unpredictable and volatile relationship with friends, and unrealistic social perception about violence, sex, love as influenced by media, fear, imagination about marriage life. Education problems are there, like tension of attending the classes, examination test, low IQ failing, fear about failure in examinations, fear about low score, worry about future careers, and misconception about teachers. With reference to the Pakistani context, like perplexity with regards to the somatic variations, problem related with the intensification of sex consciousness, adjustment difficulties with parents and childhood adulthood conflicts, adjustment difficulties with school disciplines, and adjustment difficulties with community. Now, there are some causes of emotional disturbance, like main causes: intense self consciousness, strong feeling of inferiority, unhappy relations with parents, disgust or fear of first experience of sex emotions, change of the roles of the adolescent at home, school, society, from dependence to independence life with great responsibility leads to emotional disturbance. Attitude of parents still leading them as children, high expectations of parents, community, and society. Difficulty to adjust with the members of opposite sex. Moreover, political, rigorous, religious, and social controversies there, and failure to achieve designed success, too strict discipline or lack of understanding, uncertainty about future. Now, there are some symptoms of emotional disturbance, like physical symptoms are there, that biting the teeth, licking lips, nail, pulling hairs. So this is emotional sign of emotional disturbance. And physiological symptoms are there, like aggressions, hyperactivity, adult shyness, and withdrawing. So these are the symptoms of emotional disturbance. Now, education for adolescent means adjustment with school disciplines. School should assume responsibility for vocational guidance. School should not implant habits of unquestioning obedience which inhibits the growth of young people toward these dependence. Teachers need to be understanding, good counselors, maintenance of emotional tolerance. Education for tolerance is there, like education training in the art of living together, and development of child's entire personality, recognize individual differences, freedom of self-development and development of scientific attitudes, value of interdependence, and satisfaction of urge for practical activity, and physical exercise and activities is there, and discouraging tight and sleeveless stress. There is a role of teacher in solving the problems. Definitely, the teachers has its role, like proper physical development. In proper physical development, the teacher should plan for this aspect in the following manner, like by organizing various types of physical exercises, sport, and games, by imparting the proper knowledge about physical and health education, and by organizing various extracurricular activities. Second one, proper mental development. So teacher has its role. The mental development of adolescents should be according to the following lines, like it should be according to the ability and attitude of the people, and they should study both arts and science, and excursions to various places may be organized, and modern methods of teaching should be used to teach various subjects. Then in proper mentor development, the teacher has its role. Like all the school teachers should try to impart him necessary guidance as and when required. And they should be entrusted with responsibility so as to develop a feeling of responsibility in them. And there are individual differences among students, and every child should be able to find out the subject of his choice. Development, the teacher must try to sublimate the lower emotions of the child, and a healthy emotional atmosphere should be maintained at schools, and try to avoid frustration among the adolescents. And the teacher should play due regards to the personality of each child. And the adolescent should be imparted proper knowledge about sex. If this aspect is properly attended to it, it would lead to better emotional development. Social development, the social development of adolescents should be as follows. Like he should have knowledge about social relations and art of group living, and various group activities may be organized. Right and rational attitudes toward democracy should be developed in the school atmosphere. So this would enable the child develop his own philosophy of life. About this lecture of his